All right, class is in session. Doing another atomic attraction. This is going to be a good one. Chapter 29. It's going to be exploit her weakness for words, and this is basically a mouthpiece. A lot of guys in the dating, genre or whatever. It's people who talk about dating and game and all that stuff. Talk about mouthpiece, and mouthpiece is probably one of the most effective ways to attract women. I'll put looks, again, everybody's got their own, feelings, but mine are right. but looks, let's just do 1 out of 10. Looks is going to be 7 out of 10. Mouthpiece might be, get you to 8 out of 10, and some other stuff can, then add up to 10 out of 10. But looks, you don't have looks, you're dead in the water, so you should always look max. However, now there are some guys that can overcompensate with their mouthpiece, and they can have, their looks can be a 3 out of 10, then their mouthpiece can be a 7 out of 10. But that's rare. That's going to be the outlier. But mouthpiece, if you can work it right, it's very powerful. So here we go. Atomic Attraction, Chapter 29, exploit her weakness for words. Words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. Rudyard Kipling. Words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. Rudyard Kipling. A man and woman sit next to each other at a quiet bar. Who is the most important person in your life right now? The man asks. The woman thinks for a moment. Person. Well, my parents, my family, my friends, the people close to me, she says, with a smile. How about you? Who is the most important person in your life? She asks the man. The man looks deep into her eyes and says, only one word, you. The woman flinches. I might not see you again, but now you are here with me, and I am here with you. You are the most important person in my life right now. Ooh, smooth, baby. Smooth. Try that one, gentlemen. With that, the woman falls completely under the man's spell. That's smooth. That's smooth. Such is the point of words, or such is the power of words. It is not uncommon for a man to become weak and vulnerable in the presence of a beautiful woman. A woman's beauty is her main asset. Yes, her beauty and her sexuality. Just as women have a weakness, as men have a weakness for beauty, women have a weakness for words, facts. Women are auditory creatures. Men focus on what they see, not what they hear. Women focus on what they hear, not what they see. The way you communicate with women should be light and relaxed. Serious talk is anti-seductive, the death knell of attraction. Talking about serious subjects like business, economy, or politics does nothing to stimulate attraction for women. Facts. If you feel the need to brag or tell women how successful you are, a woman will sense you need to impress. A confident man lets his words and actions speak for themselves. When talking to women, it's important not to overthink what you say. Yes. You just need to be relaxed and open to the fluidity that is human conversation. A study published in the Journal of Personal Relationships found men who have strong storytelling abilities are perceived to be more powerful and high status. Storytelling is important. Let's see. And more attractive to women. The study suggests men who can be good storytellers are seen as more intelligent. However, strong storytelling ability has no effect on women who are looking for short-term relationships. And that goes into, I did a video yesterday. Take a look at that one. When you're hot, that goes back to look. When you're big, when you're alpha bangs, when you're alpha fucks, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how dumb you are. They just want your genes. They want how you look. So that's why looks, especially for short-term banging, is so powerful. You could be the biggest douche, you could be that's why the felons, get to bang, prison guards, stuff like that. All right. Another study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, who were pro-social and outgoing, were rated as more sexually attractive than less pro-social men. The key to building attraction with words is to tell lively stories packed with lively vocabulary, and as opposed to telling stories with boring details. Keep it interesting. Never belabor your point. Men have a tendency to communicate logically. Yes, we do, and they hate that. Women, however, prefer to engage their emotions every second of the day. Yes. Always think emotions with women. Never think facts and statistics when they communicate. The ability to talk about a variety of topics and explore deeper feelings is a significant component of female communication. The man who engages his emotions and feelings and lets go in conversation has a distinct and significant advantage when it comes to attraction. In fact, being able to talk about a wide variety of subjects is a key marker of intelligence. You don't have to talk about intelligent subjects or lace them. You just need to engage a woman's emotions and be able to talk about various subjects in a fluid way. Studies show that engaging conversationalists are seen as more attractive as dull what's that say? I don't know. Dull conversations. Yeah, I guess so. Okay. People who engage in dull conversations are less likable. Yes. Don't let a conversation just, sit there. And also, here's another thing. It goes back to if a woman let's say four categories: no interest, low interest, moderate interest, high interest. Okay, really, all you got to think about is high interest. If a woman is high interest, the conversation is going to flow. She's going to help you. She's going to be, a woman that really, really likes you can turn a dull conversation. Women are good at that. They can turn dull conversation into a lively one. Even if it's dull, she likes you a lot. She'll think it's a fabulous conversation. This stuff here works with people who are moderate to low interest, which, you really don't want to be dealing with them. But anyway, but if you feel like and I've said this before, if you feel like you're trying to work and trudge through a conversation and it feels like you're stuck in the mud and you guys are just like, it's like, God, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this conversation? I can't get it to go anywhere, A lot of times because the woman is intentionally making it difficult. There is a reason why good conversationalists find it easier to seduce women. They know how to talk, and what they say is never boring. The charming conversationalist has no qualms talking about things that are controversial or politically incorrect. Attractive men live lives filled with adventures and risks. Attractive men go out into the world and live interesting lives where they collect interesting stories. They are easily able to regale a woman. And yeah, and you don't have to be like, oh, I'm mountain climbing and, going up Everest and using, oxygen tank and almost dying to get interesting stories. I had an incident, and I've said it on one of my other videos, but, I went out to the park and this guy, it's a long story, but bottom line, the dad didn't like the way I talked to his kid and he started to challenge me to a fight. And, I ended up telling a chick about it. And, it was a great story because I'm out in the world. It was kind of exciting for, the 10 minutes I lived it, and the way I told it to her, she loved it, me and this guy almost got into a fight and, and what he did, it was hilarious. But, just a lot of guys think, oh, I've got to go mountain climbing and I got to hike the Appalachian Trail and almost die and that way I get interesting stories. No, you can go to the grocery store and you're in self-checkout and, some guy's trying to, steal some milk or something and the security guards sees them and, maybe grabs this, coat or something. What do you got in there? But, you start telling the story. You're just out and about and you're telling the girl, that means get out. Don't Uber Eats everything. Go sit in your room and play video games and watch the porn all day, like they say, or corn. But, it doesn't, the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to be like a, Christopher Columbus explorer sailing the 7 seas. Just get out and about, okay? And then your normal, oh, I saw this car and they almost, this dude, they flicked them off and then they almost rear-ended each other. Just stuff like that, the stuff you're doing every day can be kind of, but you got to be out and about. Okay, and don't talk about, the politically incorrect, fine, but, don't be too, yeah, it's got to be this way, overly, yeah, because they don't know you well enough yet to like you like that. Never talk politics and religion, probably a good idea, because they just don't know you that well. It's not that, they might, you might be like, oh, I'm against abortion, and then she's like, oh my God, but once she gets to know you, she's like, oh, he's compassionate, and maybe he was for abortion one time, and now he's against, whatever. She can understand who you are more as a person. Anyway, a woman with adventures and being able to engage. Being able to engage a woman in these stories is just a byproduct of living a full life, right? Going places, doing things, Anyway, something that every man should aspire to, yes. Just be active, be out and about, You can get funny stories in the gym, you can get funny stories playing a sport. Well, I wouldn't play tennis today, and this dude busted his racket and, sprained his ankle, and just stuff like that. It's not, women fall for charming men, not because they are handsome or successful, but because these men know how to use words. And that's what I was saying about, you could have the fat, ugly guy, and there are some of those guys, they got no looks, they're maybe fat and kind of, just not, at all aesthetic or attractive looking, but dude, they can talk to a woman, they got that mouth, they got that gift of gab. I've known some guys but that's an outlier to a certain degree. So, because some guys want to rely too much on their mouthpiece, get in the gym, that's the better way. Most likely you'll just be an average conversationalist, but a good average conversationalist with looks, oh man, Alright, so, let's see. Okay, men who can tell stories and use antidotes, yep. Oh, one time I went to, Washington, the plane was blah, 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 whatever. Hold a significant advantage in the realm of seduction. Researchers at the University of North Carolina support this theory with several long-running experiments. The researchers discovered that women were more attracted to men that had good storytelling abilities than men who rarely told stories. Men who were able to recount memorable experiences. Yeah, women want to know, this guy's out and about doing stuff. Oh man, that's kind of cool, Antidotes or stories were seen as more socially intelligent and desirable. Furthermore, the researchers found that a man's ability to use words skillfully to entertain and charm were seen as more popular and seen to have good leadership. And women love leaders. They love leaders. The leadership potential. It should be noted that using words to charm does not require, see what I said, great skill. You just talk, right? To charm a woman, all you have to do is engage her in a wide variety of topics to elicit emotional responses. Yes. So, you don't talk about stats and, well, the data says, and the study to stats and statistics, and blah, 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 no, man, you got to keep it fun, keep it, lively. But if you're really wanting to be in a romantic relationship with a woman, you got to be flirty. You got to use, you don't be overly sexual, but you got to get into sex talk, To strengthen the connection with a woman, you must not be afraid to show vulnerability. If only for a moment. Yes, not a lot, just a little bit. Like, yeah, man, there was this accident, and, there's like 3 kids on the ground. God, I felt terrible for them. I had that one time, my mom had an accident. So whatever, you but then get back into your strong masculine frame, just for a moment. Like, man, I felt terrible about it. But, anyway, you gotta quickly come out of it. It doesn't mean, oh, and I saw this, and there were kids on the ground, and it was just terrible. No, you don't know. Too vulnerable? No. Okay? Just a side of you that shows you're not a serial killer. A side of you that shows you have feelings. Man, I really felt bad for them. Anyway. Or I could only feel what that, I only could, imagine what they felt like. You said they like that, okay? They know you're not a serial killer and you have some feelings, All right. Nobody likes to be around people that appear to be too perfect and yes, yeah. We don't want and too perfect and in control all the time, yeah. Because then it makes it seem like there's something wrong with you, like, God dang, man, I can't even, no. And that's a lot of times it's a mask. That's a mask, and then they try to make you feel bad because, they act all perfect, but ain't nobody perfect, You got to show that you have a human side too, like, man, or let's say, someone's smoking, like, hey, you like those Camel Lights or whatever. Yeah, man, I used to smoke a ton, dude, yeah, whatever. And then you can say, well, now I'm addicted to coffee. You're showing that, let's say someone's smoking, they might feel insecure if they're smoking, well, and you stop, but you say, but you let them know, I'm still addicted to coffee. Like, you got some weaknesses too, and we all got it, Like, man, I do a quad every morning. I wish I couldn't, just show that you have, some, areas that you need to work on too. You must show moments of vulnerability, sharing small, right? Intimate details about your life. Do not reveal too much, yes. Oh, I went to bed when I was in 2nd grade, and I went to bed all my life, and blah, blah. No, like, easy there, Kiger. No, just like one time I stubbed my toe in college or something like that. Reveal small things. Women don't want to know too much too soon. Back. You'll turn her off real quick. A small intimate detail, get the hell out of there, Do not reveal too much too soon, yes. Brief moments of self-disclosure increases a woman's ability. And there's a brief, guys. Brief. To trust a man, yes. Just be authentic, Yeah, one time, my house got broken into. It was terrible, man. And then get out. Don't talk about how you cried about it for 10 years. All right. If you aim to create a close connection with a woman, there is no better way to do this than to ask penetrating questions, peppered with your own conversation where you share close personal details. Yes, but like I said, make them quick. Like, oh yeah, I used to have a red Cadillac. Whatever. But then get the hell out of your own personal. They don't want to know too much. I'm telling you, all humans have insecurities. Yes, we do. Like, oh man, I do the quad every morning. Too much coffee, man, makes me jittery sometimes. That just say shit like that. They like that. that we must deal with on a daily basis, such as life. Your ability to show moments of empathy tinged with moments of vulnerability is an endearing quality in a harsh and unforgiving world. Yes, but understand, the world is harsh, and you're the man, and you're the strength, you know. And she needs to know that you can't be so vulnerable that, you know, you saw a little doggy on the side of the road and it made you cry and blah blah blah, you know, and you had a dog when you were in 3rd grade and it had a bad toe and blah. No, you know, no, and you know, and to be real serious about it, it's like the harsh this world is. You know, there was just I use criminal cases a lot of times, and there was just a criminal case. One of the most evil monsters in the world was a FedEx driver. And it was near Christmas, and he was delivering packages. And I wanted you to think something about this, because this is why you need the strength, and this is why you need the masculinity. And he was delivering a package like a 7-year-old girl, and he said that the package inside was like for her, and he got her to come in the FedEx truck. And the evil that he did to this girl, she died, and he killed her, and she was 7 years old, and he kept her prisoner. And it's on audio, not video. And it's just the most horrible thing you'll ever hear to a certain degree. And you'll want to just do something to that guy, right? But you got to know you could. You could protect that girl. You could get this guy. You know how harsh the world is. And when if you were there and you need to protect that girl, you'd go after this guy. You'd skin him up. You know, you'd take care of him so that girl was safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know I can go hardcore. But hey, I feel so bad for that girl. The things were horrible so now I have a vulnerable side, but understand, oh hell, I'll reach hath and fury on that, you know. Sorry, I go too hard on that dude, you know. And I'd just string him up. I'd string that dude up. You know, you gotta know, you gotta let, you know, the woman has to know I would have protected that girl. I would have had that girl. But at the same time, it's unbelievable. My heart goes out to her and her family. You see what I'm saying? But I would have fucked that muff up, you know, you know what I mean? I would have, dude. Ugh. Anyway, horrible story. Anyway, but the world is harsh, and you gotta let women know you have the ability to protect them. You're not just this vulnerable, emotional, empathetic creature, you know. So anyway, but you do have the ability to feel bad for a girl who went through something like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I could mess that dude up, and I would in a heartbeat for that girl. I'd go to battle. I'd go to war with him. And he'd come out of that FedEx truck deader than a doornail. You know what I'm saying? All right. If you truly want to lament with women, or connect with women, first you must learn to relate to them through shared experience and emotion. When communicating, you must give the woman the ability to open up and talk about herself. Yes. Don't talk too much about yourself. Yes. Talking about herself is the woman's favorite thing to do. Yes, that's her favorite subject. The more a woman talks about herself, the more attractive, the more you cultivate an aura of mystery. You listen to her and with intent and get to know her innermost thoughts. This allows you to connect to her on a deeper level. Yes. As she's talking, you're gaining information. You're gaining, not you know, be manipulative, but yes, you know what she likes now. Oh, next time we go on a date, I just heard she talked about, you know, liking teddy bears. I'm gonna, you know, it's stuff like that. You know, she said she liked blue teddy bears. You know, you remember that. You know, the likability effect. Okay, so the likability effect. A group of researchers studying the likability effect conducted a study where two strangers were to have a conversation with each other. One person was a participant and the other was an actor. So the other one knows what's going on in the research. Okay. Working for the researchers, yes. After the actor and the participants had finished their conversation, they were asked to make a brief statement rating the other person. After making their statement, each person was allowed to read what the other person wrote about the results of the study. Okay, about them. The result of the study showed that when the actor showed that the other person was rated highly and said positive things about them, so when you're being nice and when you're flattering the other person was more likely to feel the same way. Huh? Yeah, exactly, right? when they felt more like the actor in response. Correct. Women find it hard to resist flattery. We all do. And there's a Aesop fables where, like, what was it? The fox. In the Aesop fable, he's like, "Now let me hear how you sing, bird." And the bird's got like food in her mouth, but the fox wanted the food. And the bird's like, "Oh, I'm gonna," And anyway, he gets the food. So be careful about flattery too, right? They can use it to manipulate. Okay. Women find it hard to resist flattery and attention. Oh, they love attention. And the key is to find something that you like and use it to your advantage. Yes. And be authentic. Not, "Oh, your eyes are so beautiful." And you don't even know it. She might even get you on that because women hear that all the time. She's like, "What color are my eyes then?" Don't do that. Don't just, be authentic. If you like your shoes, "Ooh, I love your high heels." Or whatever, I love black, I love red high heel, whatever. Is it her hair? Yeah. Her clothes, her smell. Smell is good. A lot of women do smell great. Or general sense of style. That's another good one. Some women are very good at that. Not many these days, but some are awesome. I got a buddy of mine, his wife's great at that, man. She knows how to dress, dude. And not like all like, naughty or whatever. She does it in a very sophisticated way. But anyway, a lot of women don't know how to do that these days. Okay. It's a general sense of style and elegance that you find indeed appealing. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to vocalize it and let the woman know. But it has to be authentic, okay? And do it unapologetically. What it is you like about her, just say it, okay? Don't be outcome independent. I said it, I meant it, and whether she likes you or not, ain't no big deal. It is what it is, When you tell a woman you find her attractive and you find her desirable, you exploit the power of the likability effect. Correct. However, women don't need to like you to respect you, and you need respect more than you need to be liked, okay? She can like a friend. You don't want to be her friend. Flattery will get you everywhere. A well-placed compliment can easily disarm the most challenging woman. The key is always keep a woman off balance and remain unpredictable. Never shower a woman with too many compliments. Correct. Be authentic. Understand women hear compliments all the time. Understand it'll get you nowhere. If she doesn't like you, compliments will get you nowhere. They'll get you absolutely nowhere. The woman has to already kind of like you, okay? But if she doesn't like you, women hear them all the time. They know guys are trying to get something out of them, mostly try to get in their pants. So she doesn't care. Be very, very, reserved with your compliments, okay? But be authentic and don't care if you do. But dude, if she don't like you, your compliments mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because let's think about it. The homeless guy, let's think about it. You are no different, and I'm not trying to be mean, all of us. But this is how women think. You are no different than the homeless guy that's, crapped and pissed all over himself and hadn't taken a shower in 3 months. You're no different than him when you give a woman a compliment and she doesn't care. You might as well be that guy. Because that's the way women are wired. They can't care about men they don't care about. And if she has zero interest or low interest, she don't care. The only ones that could care is moderate interest. But like I said, you only want to deal with high interest. Okay. You must hold back just enough to let an element of doubt to creep in the women's mind and make her wonder whether you really like her or not. Correct. You can't be too you want to let her kind of know, but again, she has to already like you, because if she kind of likes you or doesn't like you at all, she ain't gonna care if you like her or not. She ain't gonna go figure it out, She really won't, But if she does like you a lot, she's gonna be like, man, maybe he likes me. That's only if they like you a lot, because women are always gonna be spoiled for choice, But they want to choose the ones that they really like. So if they really like you, they'll be like, man, did he just say that? But if they don't really like you, or they're low interest, or they'll be like, I don't care. They're not going to go figure it out. They won't. Uncertainty is more attractive than certainty. Always. Uncertainty is more attractive than certainty. All right? Well, there you go. But always remember, seduction, you don't have to seduce the highly interested person. And we talk a lot about seduction here and stuff like that. You do not have to seduce the highly interested person. Now, the moderately interested person, you have to seduce, okay? And it's work, and you can do it, right? But you only want to deal with highly interested people, in my opinion. You cannot, and I don't think you can't have enough seduction to seduce a low interested person. It's not worth it. It wouldn't be worth the effort. You'd have to be, totally on your game. You have to make no mistakes, so only deal with women that are highly interested in you. And that's really how women are. They really could care. You are the homeless guy that hadn't taken a shower and crapped on himself for 3 months without taking a shower. You are that guy if they're low interest or no interest. And sometimes even moderate interest, because women just could care less. They care less about men they don't care about, So I'll understand that, Don't waste your time on them. But anyway, that's chapter, I believe, 29. We'll see you on the next one.